Welcome beyond the veil. You are listening to Moonlight and Ironwood. If you want to skip the wait and download the full audiobook right now, the link is in the description. Now, take a deep breath. The mist is rising. Yet, I whispered. Naya squeezed my hand. We've got this. I'll be right behind you. We walked down the grand staircase to where Aiden was waiting. When he saw me, the air left his lungs in a visible puff. Wow, he breathed, stepping forward to take my hand. He looked devastating in his formal wear, his alpha aura rolling off him in waves of power and protection. You look lethal. That was the goal, I said, trying to smile. Ready to meet your subjects? He teased gently. Ready as I'll ever be. We walked out into the cold night air. The amphitheatre was packed. Hundreds of wolves stood in silent rows, their faces upturned toward the stone dais. Torches lined the perimeter, casting dancing shadows on the stone walls. As we ascended the steps to the platform, a hush fell over the crowd. Alpha Stone stepped back, gesturing for us to take centre stage. Pack of Ironwood, his voice boomed without a microphone. Tonight, we stand under the gaze of the moon goddess to witness a new dawn. I present to you my son, your future alpha, Aiden Stone. A roar of approval went up from the crowd. Aiden waved, his grip on my hand tightening. And, Alpha Stone continued, his voice dropping to a reverent hush, beside him stands his fated mate, a wolf of royal blood, a daughter of Ironwood returned to her true power. I present to you, Lunar Journey. The silence returned, hundreds of eyes fixed on me. Some were curious, some were skeptical, some were openly hostile. I felt the fear rising in my throat. They hate me, I thought. They see the fat girl. They see the beta's shadow. Show them, Aiden's voice echoed in my mind. Show them who you really are. I took a step forward. I didn't need to shift fully to show them. I just needed to let the wolf peek through. I closed my eyes for a heartbeat, finding that well of power deep inside my chest. I pulled on it, letting it flood my veins. When I opened my eyes, the world was sharp and electric, and my eyes were blazing violet. A gasp rippled through the crowd. The skepticism vanished, replaced by shock and awe. One by one, the wolves in the front row dropped to their knees, then the second row, then the third. Within seconds, the entire amphitheatre was kneeling. It was a wave of submission so powerful, it nearly knocked me over. They weren't bowing to Aiden, they were bowing to the royal blood. I looked at Aiden. He was beaming with pride. My queen, he whispered, but before I could savour the moment, the air shifted. The wind changed, carrying a scent that made my blood run cold. Rot, wet dog, and something metallic. Intruders! My wolf screamed. At the edge of the amphitheatre, the torches suddenly flickered and died, plunging the perimeter into darkness. Perimeter breach! Caleb's voice shouted over the comms, loud enough for me to hear from where I stood. Sector 4 is down, we have hostiles! A howl tore through the night, ragged, hungry, and wrong. It wasn't a pack howl. It was the sound of madness. Then, from the shadows of the tree line, they emerged. Dozens of them. Rogues, their fur matted and eyes glowing yellow, pouring into the amphitheatre like a tidal wave of nightmares. And leading them, walking calmly through the chaos in her black tactical gear, was a figure I knew better than my own reflection. Jackie. She stopped at the base of the dais, looking up at me with a smile that didn't reach her dead eyes. "Hello, sister," she called out, her voice cutting through the screams of the crowd. "Nice dress. Shame I'm going to ruin it." Beside her, a massive, scarred wolf, Marcus, let out a roar that shook the ground. "Kill them all," Jackie screamed. "Leave no one standing." The peace was shattered. The unveiling was over. The war for Ironwood had begun. Chapter 16. The Queen of Ruin. The first scream was music. It was a high, terrified sound that cut through the crisp night air, signalling the start of the symphony I had composed. I stood at the base of the dais, the chaos erupting around me like a blooming flower of violence. Wolves were shifting, tearing, and snarling. The Ironwood Pack members, so smug in their finery, were panicked. They were scrambling, tripping over their long gowns and polished shoes. They weren't ready for war. They were dressed for a pageant. My rogues, on the other hand, were dressed for blood. "Left flank!" I barked into my headset. "Push them toward the wall. Don't let them regroup." I watched as 3 of my fighters tackled a group of gamma guards. The guards were strong, but they were surprised. My rogues were hungry. Hunger always wins. I turned my gaze back to the dais. To her. Journey stood frozen, that ridiculous violet dress shimmering under the moonlight. She looked horrified. Good. Next to her, Aiden had shifted. His wolf was massive, a dark grey storm of fur and muscle. He leapt off the platform, landing in the middle of a pack of rogues, tearing through them with efficient brutality. Alpha Stone and Caleb were fighting back to back near the entrance, trying to hold the line, but Journey was alone on the stage. "Marcus," I said calmly, "go play with the Alpha. I have family business." Marcus grinned, revealing blood-stained teeth. He shifted mid-stride, his bones cracking and reforming into a monstrous, scarred wolf the size of a bear. He charged toward Aiden, a dark missile aimed right at the heart of the pack. I drew my silver daggers. They felt cool and heavy in my hands. Familiar. I walked up the stone steps. 1, 2, 3. Journey watched me come. Her violet eyes were wide, glowing with that unnatural power. "Jackie," she whispered as I reached the top. "Stop this. You're killing your own people." "My people?" I laughed, spinning a dagger in my hand. "My people abandoned me, Journey. They bowed to a fat girl in a shiny dress because she had a genetic quirk. These aren't my people. They're yours. And look at them dying for you." I gestured to the carnage below. A young Delta lay still near the first row. One of the elders was bleeding heavily. "Stop it!" Journey screamed. "Call them off!" "Make me," I sneered. I lunged. I was fast. I had trained for this my entire life. My dagger slashed out, aiming for her arm. I didn't want to kill her yet. I wanted to bleed her. Journey stumbled back, tripping over her hem. The blade sliced through the silk of her sleeve, drawing a thin line of red on her skin. She gasped, clutching her arm. "Pathetic," I hissed, circling her. "Is this the royal wolf? Is this the queen? You can't even stand in heels." "I don't want to fight you," she pleaded, backing away until she hit the stone altar at the back of the dais. "That's the difference between us, sister," I said, stepping closer. "I live for this." I struck again, a vicious backhand slice. But this time, something stopped me. Journey didn't dodge. She didn't scream. Her hand shot out and grabbed my wrist. Her grip was like iron. I stared at her hand, then up at her face. Her eyes were no longer just violet. They were burning. The air around us crackled with static electricity, making the hair on my arms stand up. "I said," Journey growled, her voice deepening into a dual tone, human and wolf. "I don't want to fight you." She twisted my wrist. Snap. Pain exploded up my arm. I screamed, dropping the dagger. Journey shoved me back. It wasn't a push. It was a kinetic blast. I flew backward, my feet leaving the stone, and crashed hard onto the stairs. I gasped for air, clutching my broken wrist. My vision swam. How? How was she that strong? She had no technique. She had no leverage. It was just raw force. "You broke my wrist," I whispered, staring at her in shock. "I'll break the other one if you don't cool them off," Journey said. She stepped toward me, her dress torn, her arm bleeding, but looking more like a queen now than she ever had in the pristine gown. Rage, hot and blinding, flooded my system. She hurt me. She dared to hurt me. "Marcus!" I shrieked. "Kill her! Forget the Alpha. Kill her now!" Down in the pit, Marcus heard me. He threw Aiden aside like a rag doll. Aiden hit the stone wall with a sickening crunch and didn't get up, and turned his yellow eyes toward the dais, toward Journey. He roared and charged up the steps, slobbering and insane. The shadows are lengthening. That is the end of this chapter. Can't wait to see what happens next. You don't have to. Download the full, uninterrupted story right now at the link below. Otherwise, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Sweet nightmares.